Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching Vinco99, who also seems to be a rage bro, playing in the Tier 10 British turreted tank destroyer. It is of course the FV215B183. Well then again, it doesn't have to be of course when you think about it, because there are two turreted British tank destroyers. There's the FV4005 Stage 2 and the FV215B183. Now originally the FV215B183 was a bit more mobile than it is now, and it didn't have nearly as much armor. However, Wargaming wanted to kind of increase the differences between the FV4005 Stage 2 and the FV215B183, and so they made this vehicle, should we say, a little bit more sluggish and more heavily armoured, whereas the 4005 pretty much, well, if you've played that tank you will know just how bad the turret is. I think it's about 14mm of turret armor, and the turret is gigantic. It's probably one of the easiest tanks to penetrate with a high explosive round. I think artillery starts to get a bit itchy when it sees one of them on the enemy team and wants to jump the gun and fire at them as quickly as possible. Now this replay here, you're about to find out everything in the FV215B183 from a single shot. Yeah, that's right, it just one-shot a Tier 8 German medium tank, the Indian Panzer, and that's because this vehicle has 3 different flavors of ammunition, but all that we really need to talk about is the first one. Now, this is Hesh. Now, this is premium. Now, Vinco has decided that, and I do this as well, that the Hesh is so important on this tank that I reassign it to being on my 1 key, and I put the armor piercing rounds, which are the standard ammunition on this vehicle, onto the 2 key. Now, this replay is going to be in complete parallel to the one you saw the other day. Yeah, 2 shots, 2 kills, T-54E1 completely obliterated. You remember that lovely M36 Jackson that we saw the other day, somebody who didn't fire hardly any premium rounds, you know, the perfect kind of free-to-play tank. This is the complete polar opposite. This is Mr. One Shot. All of these Hesh rounds on his 1 key right now cost 8,000 credits a shot. But when you one-hit tanks with 1,750 alpha damage and 230mm of penetration, then you're in for a good time whenever you play this vehicle, and woe upon the enemy that try and face off against this tank. Now one thing that's well, that wasn't quite 2,000. I thought he rolled ultra high there and did 2,000, but I just noticed that someone else must have hit him just before his shell landed, and it does 1,312. Oh yeah, only 1,312, right? 3 shots, 3 kills. You keep counting, we'll see how far this is going to go throughout this replay. Now, I guess this vehicle is kind of balanced around the fact that it can only take 12 rounds of ammunition, so if there are more than 12 tanks on the enemy team, then yeah, it's not going to be one-shotting the entirety of the enemy team at least. 4 shots, 4 kills, 1,528 damage done to the side of that Tier 9 German heavy tank. When is this going to stop? When is Vinco going to run out of luck? Well, you guys are just going to have to wait and see. Now, what's probably the best counter for an FV215B183? Well, how about another FV215B183? Yeah, we got you indeed. 1,302 damage dealt here. I would just like to clarify that Vinco, you should go and buy yourself a lottery ticket right now, because the accuracy on this gun is 0.4. And remember, he's firing high explosive squashed head ammunition, which to all intents and purposes works as if it was high explosive inside World of Tanks with just higher penetration. So these 230mm shells with 0.4 accuracy. 6 shots, 6 kills, not too bad. Pretty much half of well, over a third of the enemy team now dealt with from this position. It seems to be working out quite well. I think I'm going to have to go and try this in a few of my tank destroyers later on. I always get a bit confused as to where I might want to go with tank destroyers. The only thing that I don't like about this position is that Vinco is effectively allowing his northern flank to get completely obliterated, and arguably if he'd maybe been a little bit less lucky, or if the southern flank hadn't been so successful, maybe going there might have been a little bit too passive when you are one of the top tier tanks, one of only 3 top tier tanks in this kind of matchup, although it really is working out for him now. Maybe this was his plan all along, to roll that dice every single time and get 6s, you know, just keep rolling 6s. Is that a strategy in tabletop games? I think it is, just roll 6s. And it sometimes works out. 7 kills now with 7 shots, shutting down that Tier 8 Soviet premium heavy tank, the Defender. However, The enemies turned around. They won the north so hard that they also managed to turn around to defend their base from the push on the south. Now T-32 narrowly misses Vinko. I think he's been spotted for the first time there. He's got to watch out here because there's a Skoda T50 on the enemy team, and that is an auto-loading Czechoslovakian medium tank that will make short work of his hit points. Now, while I did say that this is the more heavily armoured variant of the two British turreted tank destroyers, its armour still isn't absolutely fantastic. Its lower plate is rather weak, and if you do give up your side armour in this tank, then people are certainly going to be able to take your hit points away quickly. The Skoda puts one shot in. Will he put the second one? Not today. But also, one thing, remember this is high explosive, so you don't even have to penetrate the enemy tank. I believe that one went into the turret, but still, of course, it's going to do 337 damage. This is the equivalent of 182.9 millimeter high explosive round with 230 millimeters of penetration and 5 meters splash radius. Of course, it's going to do 337 damage to the T-32. He could have hit him in the mantlet there. Pretty much all apart from just exploding over the barrel of the gun, he would have been successful. 9 shots, 9 kills, with 790 damage done there to the Skoda T50. But he took a big old hit from that Object 704. He's got to watch out. He's got to keep his eyes about him. Vinko, surely you don't want to get snuck up on by that Tier 9 Soviet tank destroyer. So, 9 kills from his 9 shots and 9,000 damage dealt. But Vinko is now starting to run out of his Hesh ammunition. He only has 1 Hesh shell left. Ooh, 937 hit points there on the Tiger II. Oh, he's been reduced to a point where he probably doesn't even need to penetrate him. 595 damage dealt. Ouch. Now he's just shy of 10k. Rage Bro has killed... Well, sorry, Rage Bro Vinko. I should really address you by your full title, buddy. And also, big thank you for following me on Twitch. I did go and take a look at your Twitch account, and I noticed you're doing that. So it's really nice to be featuring your replay today. It's always my favorite when I've got either subscribers on my YouTube channel or followers on my Twitch who do post up awesome content on what replays, or awesome replays on what replays, I should say. So, 10 kills here from his 10 shots, 2 rounds of ammunition left in the vehicle. Remember, as I said, this vehicle, you're not meant to really do this in this tank. This is just absolutely ludicrous. And oh, that's a real shame. The Leopard shuts down the Object 704, so we aren't going to have an opportunity to go for 12 kills with 12 shots, but there's still a chance here that the T10E3, well, I shouldn't really count this T10E3 out yet. The Leopard's on low health, the AMX-50-100's on low health, and Vinko's on low health as well. That heavily armored Tier 10 American non-turreted tank destroyer could one-shot all 3 of these players, but he's gonna have to avoid Vinko's armor-piercing round here. And the armor-piercing round perfect for dealing 835 damage, because it has 1,150 alpha. Sure, not quite as high as the Hesh, but we are now packing 310 millimeters of penetration, and you don't have to have that much to go through the side of the T10E3 on the enemy team. 11 shots, 11 kills, over 10,000 damage dealt. This has to be one of the greatest games in the FV215B183 of all time, especially since this tank has been nerfed so much. When I first watched this replay, I simply couldn't believe what I was seeing, but I have to admit I was a little bit disappointed that Vinko didn't quite get 12 kills, because nobody, at least that has uploaded a replay on What Replays, has ever got 12 kills in this vehicle. And nevertheless, with 11 shots and 11 kills, this was still a truly remarkable replay, and Vinko gets rewarded for it significantly. A Pools medal for his 11 kills, a high caliber for his 10,146 damage dealt, a tank sniper for dealing most of that at long range. But the real question is, how much did he spend on ammunition? Oh gosh, yeah, well, 82,250. That's 8,000 credits times by 10 for his premium rounds, and the 2,250 for that single armor piercing round at the end, meaning that even with a premium account, he does lose credits. But let's be honest, nobody plays this tank to try and make credits. This is an absolute troll of a tank that loves to induce rage in its opponents, and that's why I guess Vinko has Rage Bro in his name. So Vinko, congratulations to you on this absolute mammoth game in the FV215B183, and apparently I think he managed to do his Tank Destroyer 15 mission for his Object 260, so congrats for that as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope all of you out there did as well. If you did, please consider giving this video a like. I'd really appreciate it, and let me know in the comments what you think about the FV215B183. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.